So I've already taken the liberty of unboxing it and setting up the stand. A couple things you'll notice that the stand is no longer plastic. It has an all metal stand on this one. Still adjustability, it's going to be up and down about that much. These do tend to sit a little bit low. That's one thing I noticed. And then the tripod legs on the stand can be a little tippy. So just make sure you've got it positioned well where you want it and it's in a safe place. The other thing that I would recommend is a gas strut monitor arm for almost all of these. You just can't go wrong with a gas strut arm. It's a lot more secure connection. You can't bump or knock over a monitor if you've got kids, teenagers, or you yourself are prone to doing anything. There we go. I'm just tightening up that base there. 27-inch. It's going to have that FreeSync technology that we talked about. It actually does have built-in speakers. That's one of the things that's really, really rare to start seeing in monitors nowadays, is the built-in speaker capability. So most of them will have like a speaker output, and then people will be like, why don't the speakers work? It's because they don't have them. So this one does have built-in speakers, it says. This is the 2021 model, but it is a late 21. It's like October, so it's not even a year old, I believe, on this one since it was published. It does have a blue light filter, which if you're doing a lot of office work or you're staring at a computer all day, as it gets to be nighttime, there's that whole circadian rhythm thing. You're going to want some sort of filter on your monitor, whether you wear blue light blocking sunglasses or glasses. That's one option. I'm just plugging the back here. But this monitor, it should pop up a screen. There we go. Has that built-in capability. So you can go in through the on-screen display. Another capability that it has, again, super skinny series. I don't even know if I can show that against my logo, how tight that is, how just very, very skinny. Yet another one that's maybe a 1/4 inch thick, front to back. So very, very skinny monitors, and not bad. This one weighs a bit more because you're now in the 27-inch size range. So it weighs a little bit more than some of the others did, but definitely capable. Lots of screen real estate, but it's still full HD resolution. So this one's going to be a little bit bigger from a desktop perspective, but it's still from a pixel perspective, it's going to run just the same as the other ones. So this is the edgeless display, and from a color gamut, there's a bunch of different terminologies here, but the big important thing is the sRGB. If you're a gamer, you want the sRGB color space. That's this triangle that's here in light green, and it covers all of that, and it's coming into the P3 space, which is more for print and publishers. Adobe RGB is just a completely different one there, but that's again for people that are doing professional print work. So didn't see any issues there. Tone response is dead on gamma here, so you can see the gamma curves. So monitor did really well in this. Brightness and contrast is interesting on this one. So with these IPS displays, they don't have a very high contrast ratio. One of the things that this one suffered from, and actually one of the adjustability tips that I want to give you, is when you get it out from the factory, it's going to come in standard mode. Go ahead and go to the picture mode, change that to go to user, and you can adjust it down. We're going to adjust the brightness down to about 25. And then the backlight up, or in my case down, so it looks better on the screen, but then you can adjust the backlight. And actually it's going to make the colors pop, things are going to look better. But what we're looking at here on the display, it says it has 317 nits of brightness is what it tested out at, which is absolutely really good. Usually in cheap laptops and cheaper displays, you're looking at 250 nits or below. This one did 317. Now the contrast ratio says only 530, and again, it's the way that the test works on this. Most of the time, adjusting the brightness doesn't affect it, the brightness of it. You have to adjust the backlight. So I did run the test one more time, but 317 was the peak here. At normal settings, it was 267. And then screen uniformity, this is telling you if the panel's got a really bright side or a dark side. In general, it's pretty good. You don't want to see like super dark orange on these, and I did not see those. And then luminosity looks pretty good. Now color accuracy, this is where the IPS monitors shine. And if I could have like a badge to give this one, basically less than 2 is almost calibrated mode, right? So if you've got a monitor that puts out 165 hertz that you can play video games on, that also looks great for editing photos and stuff without a calibrator. So these are pre-calibrated results. I should that be pre or non-calibrated results? So this is before I did any calibration. There is one color that always seems to come out on these. It's this kind of teal color, and this is in the 48 patch color test, but most of them are under 1 on the color accuracy. So incredibly color accurate, almost the full spec of Adobe RGB, sRGB color space for gaming. So you're going to get a bright monitor that games, that's got great color. So I don't know what else you could ask for right now, but overall monitor ratings, it was giving it 5 stars in a bunch of categories. A couple of the ones on contrast, it didn't give it. So I actually ran this test one more time, and I did it, and I darkened the room just to do some testing in here. Let's see, this was in the dark room. And I changed the brightness technique, so it wasn't able to actually get any additional brightness out of it, and the screen uniformity stayed roughly the same because I was worried I had a bright light over here for the studio. So really roughly about the same, but overall a great showing on the Sceptre monitor, so I was really happy with that. Another thing, this is another really good tip. You're not going to be able to see this. I can't put it on the screen because we can't mirror at that such a high refresh rate, but if you come down here, this is where you can set the refresh rate of the monitor. And so let me see if I can put you up on the side camera here. So in Windows, Advanced Display Settings, just come over there, pick that refresh rate. I'm on Windows 11, but you can be on 10. It works throughout them all the same. Just look up Advanced Display Settings. I'm going to set this to 165. So now we're going all the way to the top. And then I'm going to say keep the changes. And so I like to run this one now. Okay, it's run 164. It's going to try to get the machine. I don't know if you can see a difference now at 165. I actually see it on the cameras here. So a lot less stuttering as that UFO goes across. Now, if you get really close up to it, and it's not going to, again, transfer here. See how the bottom UFO is kind of clipping? That top UFO, he's smooth, but he's got a little bit of a trail behind him. That's called ghosting. So that's when the monitor is, changing pixels 165 times a second, and it's trying to keep up. And as it moves, there's a small delay. That's that refresh rate, G to G, MPRT. Those refresh rates are when the window or door is closing on the LCD display. Now, how do you make that look a little bit better? If we go into the settings on the monitor, again, got to go to the on-screen display here. You can actually go down to this MPRT value, and basically this is similar to the overdrive here, and that's actually going to help. Now you see it flickering on the camera because that's what it's doing. There's black frame insertion, which is another trick that a lot of monitor companies use. But in the end, it's to give yourself a better picture. So you can see it's definitely doing more insertion. And there's with it off. And there's an overdrive value as well. So if I exit this menu and you go down to the system menu on this one, and then you can change the overdrive setting here. Now I've turned the overdrive mode on to high. So it's not going to show it real well here. But what that's doing is it's actually overdriving that top row of pixels there to try to make it blur less, try to give it a little bit less ghosting. So those are some terms that I'm going to use as we talk about this.